Thank you everyone for joining us today. I am Danielle Kirkus. I am currently the Education Director for SMPS Central Florida, as well as the Marketing Mechanics Committee Chair. So we would like to thank you today for joining the session with Cynthia Blackwell, Understanding Personalities, Part 1. This is going to be a two-part series with the second part coming in September. Before we get started, I would like to take a moment to thank our annual sponsors. We couldn't provide the programs like these and the other events that we put on here in Central Florida without our sponsors. So we always want to thank those. Just a few reminders before we get started today. Please do mute your audio during the presentation. Please use the chat feature to submit your questions. We will be taking questions at the end and I will help moderate those. So if you think of something during, just pop it in there and we'll get your question answered at the end. We are recording today's session and that video will be available after. It'll probably take us about a week just to get everything edited and put up on our YouTube channel. So look for that to come in your email box sometime next week. And we also will, as usual, be sending out our post-event survey. And you will have 7 days to complete that. So please keep an eye out for that coming later this afternoon. So like I said, today our wonderful speaker is Cynthia Blackwell with Cynthia Blackwell Consulting. She is a speaker, a mentor, a philanthropist, and I'll let her introduce herself a little bit more here in a moment. But like I said, she is going to be doing this first part in a 2-part series on understanding personalities. So like I said, submit your questions through that chat feature. Cynthia, before we get started, I do want to thank you for volunteering your time today. And we will be making a donation to a charity of your choice. So we already talked about doing the Kids House of Seminole, so I'll make sure that happens. And then just a few reminders for our members. We do have a deadline coming up July 2nd. I believe that's the end of next week for our member award nominations. So if you would like to get those in, please do so by then. We've got a few other events coming up in July. Our next education event is going to be focused on business development. So please take a look at that event description up on our website. And then we've also got our monthly coffee talks coming up. All right, well, Cynthia, I'm gonna go ahead and hand it over to you. And like I said, I'll help moderate questions at the end. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad you're here to join us today. So we have to do social media, right? So got to make sure I post and let everybody know we're spending time together today. Okay, so the reason why I did that also is in a few moments, it'll make sense to you when I share more information about personalities. So how many of us have met someone and not quite understood them? Happens all the time, right? Or how many of us have interacted with someone and we walk away asking ourselves, well, I'm not quite sure how that went. Or have you walked away and thought, wow, that went incredibly fantastic. Whoa, I really connected with that other person. Whoa, that was great. That happened? Yes. Well, it's happened to all of us. So here's the great part about personalities and people is we're all different, right? We all have, no matter what our generation is, and no matter what our industry is, we all have our priorities and we all have our individual pace. Whether you're in leadership or you're in business development and sales, no matter what your role is professionally, this information is going to help you. It's also going to help you when you go home because we have relationships at home. How many of you have a relationship at home? Right? Yes. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about DISC. And if any of you have ever participated in any type of personality assessment, analysis, profiling, whatever you want to call it, we've all participated in one at some point in time in our career, more than likely. For me, I love DISC because of the simplicity of it. The simplicity of learning it, the simplicity of mastering it, the simplicity of once you have a foundational understanding of it, you can very quickly connect with another human being, very quickly pick up on their personality. And what I mean by that too is, what is their pace and what are their priorities? And from a business development and sales perspective, if we understand the other person, then we can do a better job of unveiling, of identifying exactly what their needs are, what their priorities are, what is it really that they're looking for. Because here's what I'm going to tell you: in the 35 years that I have been in sales or business development, price is important, but it's not the number one determining factor. People buy from people they like, they trust, and they respect. If you can connect with another human being, you can get where they're coming from. The flip side of that coin is you can get where they're coming from, and you can qualify and you can identify, is this truly an opportunity for me and my company? Or is it potentially not a good fit? The reason why I'm saying that is because the faster we can make a decision as to whether or not we're going to close this business, or we're going to close and move on from this opportunity and go find one and have conversations with people that are going to buy. Does that make sense to y'all? Just nod your head. Fantastic. Now here's something else that I'm going to invite you to do. Two things. Anything that jumps out for you, please write it down. The reason why I'm going to say write it down is because studies show if we actually write it down, it registers, goes up our little arm and up in here into the brain, and we're going to remember it. It's going to be of greater value for us. Okay. The second reason why I'm saying that is because when you write it down, it makes it interesting for you, and there's a key point that resonates for you, because then the next thing you're going to do is I'm going to highly encourage you to go talk to people about it, because then it's going to get embedded. You're going to remember it in your short-term memory, and then you'll start using it. And then when Danielle sends out the video for this, it'll just be another reminder. And by the way, I'm going to, before the next session, I'm going to send her out a funny 3.5-minute video to get the juices flowing for remembering this, and then also prepare you for the next one. Okay. So there are two things that we're going to focus on today, and it is going to be a person's pace. Are they fast paced? Are they action oriented? Do they walk fast, talk fast, move fast? In case you hadn't noticed, that's me. Or are they more methodical, analytical, and a little bit more, how do I want to, passive in their action? They tend to move at the same pace all the time. May seem like there isn't a sense of urgency, but I can guarantee you there's a sense of urgency going on in here. Okay. The second thing that we're going to focus on is, are they task and process oriented? Okay. That's their number one priority: task and process, getting this done and getting it off their desk. Or is it emotionally driven decisions? Or are they emotionally driven? Are they more social? Are they all about relationships? Okay. The faster you understand what their pace is, and the faster you know what their priorities are, the easier it can be for you to connect with the other person and meet them where they need to be met. Because at the end of the day, what I'm going to say to you is, take responsibility for you and what you want out of this meeting. So before you go into a meeting with anyone, ask yourself these two questions. Are they fast-paced and action-oriented, or are they more methodical, analytical, and more passive? Okay. The next question to ask is, are they all about task and process? Or are they all about the relationship and emotion? How I feel, how they feel. Here's how you can tell. So let's start with the first question first. Their pace. Now, with your permission, I'm going to share my screen so then that way you can see this graph. Is that okay? Well, yes, Cynthia, go right ahead. Thank you. Yes. And by the way, it's healthy to talk to yourself. I do it all the time. You would be amazed at the conversations you can have with yourself, right? Okay. Can everybody see the graph? Yes? Okay. If you find something funny too, you can do a smiley face or laughy or claps in the chat. Let's all have some fun today on your lunch hour. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. Do you see the D and the I? So you've got the D, the I, the S, and the C. So this is DISC, okay? So these two personalities right here, they are action driven, all about action. Move fast, talk fast, okay? Like this. They can sometimes come across as annoying and demanding where they just show up right here and they're like, blah, 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 and you're going, hey, well, wait a minute, what? Because you're in the middle of something. Now, these two people, this person right here, this high D, this D person is results driven. But I'm also going to tell you this I, that's me, is results driven. Whatever I do, I'm thinking about what is going to be the outcome. What do I want? Then I'm figuring out what actions I need to take. See what actions I need to take in order to deliver the results that I want. Now, the I is very enthusiastic and has a tremendous amount of enthusiasm about everything and anything that they do. The D also has enthusiasm, but it's enthusiasm about the processes and procedures. Okay? Enthusiasm about the results, enthusiasm about driving outcomes that they want. Make sense so far? Okay. So remember, we're talking about pace first. Action, fast pace, talk fast, move fast. Okay. Here, the C and the S, they are about dependability. They're more passive. I find these two people are more calm about things. They don't tend to overreact. They might overthink something. There's a lot of action going on in their head, but you don't really see too much of that. Okay. Now, their priorities, the D and the C, are all about competency, accuracy, and quality. They are all about getting the task done. When they communicate with you, it's like this. Hey, Lori, where are you at on that project? And when they send you an email, it's going to be like that. You might be lucky where they go, hi, Lori, how's project A going? Can I get an update, please? If they're doing that, then that means that they have a connection and a relationship with you. Most of the time I find these two personalities are just going to send an email like this. Hey, Lori, where are you at on this? You were supposed to have something to me yesterday. Let me know. Or I need an update, please. Or I just need an update. Sound familiar? Or they're going to say, give me more details. Where can I go get more information, right? Competency, accuracy. Where can I get more information on this subject that you're talking about? So, for example, earlier when I said, you're going to get the video of the presentation today to refresh your memory, but please write things down. And then shortly before the next one, you're going to receive another video just to get the juices flowing and make you laugh. Here, these two people, again, they're all about timeline. When am I going to get it? What is it going to consist of? And then what's in it for me? What action do you need for me to take? Now, this is something interesting that I will share with you about the C. The C stands for calculated, conscientious, and very accurate. When you give a C a document to read, so for example, you see the I is on the opposite spectrum, right? I'm completely across and the opposite of the C. When I write an article or a blog and I give it to a C to read it, they're going to read it first for grammar, spelling, and punctuation with a red pen. Then they're going to start again for content. I am going to hand that, get it? I'm going to hand it to them because I'm so fast-paced and enthusiastic. I'm just excited. And there's probably a lot of misspellings and grammar and punctuation. So they're going to help me with that accuracy and quality control. See, I get so excited, I can't even pronounce the words. Does that make sense so far? Is that resonating with y'all? You get this? Okay, fantastic. Now, let's move back over here to this side. This right here, the I and the S, they are all about the relationship. They're all about how you feel. So let's talk about when you're in a presentation, business development, you are presenting the solution from your company to your prospect. If the other person starts saying things like, well, you know, I get what you're saying, but I have found that for me, I just don't like that. It just doesn't, I can't seem to get the things done that I need to get done. Or, you know, I don't like the way it makes me feel. They'll start using emotions, emotional adjectives to describe what they think about what you're presenting. So if you pay attention to people, your response for them would be questions that would relate to how it will make them feel to go through the transition to do business with you, to use your product, and the results that it will drive for them. Okay, makes sense? Plus, they want to connect with you. These two people here will be much more social with you. So by the way, that's what the S stands for, social. They're very sincere in how they communicate with you. This person right here, have you ever met someone that they're pretty quiet? You wouldn't say they're an introvert so much, but they're rather reserved. But when they say something, it's profound. You go, wow, that was really funny. Or you go, wow, that was really good. I got to write that down. Or this is the person that you come to and you use terms like this. Hey, Whitney, I need to talk. I need somebody to talk to. Talk me off the ledge. I'm about to jump. Oh, I'm so upset. Help me rationalize what's going on. And so Whitney's going to say, okay, take a deep breath. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what happened. And then you're going to reason with them, right, Whitney? And say, okay, well, I understand that you feel that way, but let's also talk about the facts. So while you are all about relationships and sincere, you also want to be you're very dependable. And I'm not saying, Whitney, that's where you're at. I'm just using you as an example. Is that okay? Okay, thank you. So again, very sincere, very stable. You can always count on them, okay? Now the I stands for inspiring, influential, okay? So if you want to have a presentation presented with great enthusiasm, you definitely want this person to present the benefits and values and what's in it for me, for the customer or the client, okay? And so here would be my next question to you, setting all this aside. Who are your customers? You have 3 customers in your life. So let me tell you who I think your customers are and your clients. Number 1 is going to be yourself. Number 2 is going to be your colleagues and people that you work with. And as a part of that, let's add your personal life in there. It's going to be your spouse. It's going to be your family. It's going to be the people around you, your friends that support you in everything that you do. Those are your customers. The third one, that's very important, right? Because that covers payroll, that covers all of the expenses. Those are our true buying customers and clients. So you have 3. This helps to connect and understand all 3 of those people, but very importantly, understanding you first. So now I'm going to ask you to ask yourself, what is my pace? Are you action oriented and fast paced, walk fast, talk fast, move fast? Or are you more methodical, analytical, and more passive in your pace? I don't want to say you're slow because you're not. You are more methodical and analytical and purposeful in your actions and strategic and calculated. Okay. So where do you fall? Are you at the top or are you at the bottom of the graph? Okay. Then next, what is more important to you when you come into the day and you're starting your list for the day? What are you starting with? Specifically tasks and things that I need to accomplish, and that's what gets your stomach, right, going? Or is it over here you're thinking about the relationships? Now, remember I told you I'm here. So my dot is right about here. I have a little bit of the task, which by the way, we all have a little bit of each one of these personalities. On a good day, we're taking full advantage and leveraging those high points of our personality. On a not so good day, we're kind of way over here on the, let's rein ourselves back away from that. Okay. So there are times where I need to shut up and not be so enthusiastic in a meeting. I need to ask a question and shush and let the other person answer. Okay. Not interrupt them and answer and finish their sentence for them because I'm so excited. Am I making sense for you right now? Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So we all have a little bit of these personalities, but what I will tell you is that 70 to 80% of the time, I find these 2 things to be true. Each of us has a primary and a secondary. And also when I conduct this, which by the way, when I'm doing coaching, this is the first thing that we do. I want to know where your dot is. So then that way I can help you understand who you are. Self-awareness for me, because if I want to have any type of influence or control over my environment around me, I need to start from within and come out. Does that make sense to you? Okay, fantastic. And so whenever I am working with someone, this is the first thing that we do. And so for me, my dot is here, but it encompasses a little bit of all 3 of these, mostly here and here. But I do have a little bit of this and just a real little bit of this because of the spelling and stuff and accurate. Anyway, that's why I have Grammarly. So where would you be? Up here, down here, and on either side? So just ask yourself these questions, okay? Because then that will help you to connect with another person. Now, let's go dig a little bit deeper. The D stands for demanding. Have you ever met someone who's really demanding? Demanding, driven, dedicated. Okay? Demanding and driven and dedicated. The reason why is because they're all about the results and they're very fast paced. They tend to do this to someone like me, or the S that likes to talk and very enthusiastic and in many instances give a lot of details. The D will do this. Okay. The term for them is land the plane. Okay. Which, by the way, everyone, my husband is a high D, and I should have never taught him the term land the plane because he uses it all the time on me. The I over here, again, stands for influential, inspiring, and all about action. Okay. All about action. They're the person that comes in on a Monday morning, sliding in like Kramer, right? Y'all know Kramer, right? Who loves, what's that show? Danielle, what's the name of that show?
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld.
Oh,
So see, Kramer comes flying in. He's very enthusiastic. He's just going to go, hey, everybody, I'm here. Happy Monday. How was your weekend? Woo! Okay. And then these two people are going, don't make eye contact. He's here. And this one here is going, it was great. Where are you at on that project? Get your booty to work. Okay. This person here, the S, again, stable, sacrificing, serving. They are all about serving others. Now, I use the word sacrificing. The reason why I use that word is because this person will not tell you they have a priority above you. For example, I have a doctor's appointment that I forgot about, or I have a doctor's appointment that they could slip me in. They won't tell you that. They'll reschedule it because they don't want to hurt your feelings, let you down, offend you. You get where I'm coming from? And so when you understand that they're there and that they're an S, then now you can say, unless you don't have anything else going on, or you know it, now you can say, or you can pose questions to them. These two personalities, the C and the S, you have to structure your questions in a manner, not a yes or no question. What do we call those? Open-ended, right? We want to ask them questions that get them to think, so they will give you information. And in many instances, in order for you to find out how their relationship is with their current vendor, you're going to potentially have to ask up to 3 questions to get that answer. So here's a perfect example. So Helene, the current vendor that you use, what would you say is their best quality in how they deliver their services for you? And what would you say is an area where they could improve to make things better? Okay. And they're going to answer that question. But if they have loyalty, they're going to be very careful as to how they answer that question. But you want to know more. So then the next thing you could ask them is, well, is it okay that I ask this? Because we all, in life, there are challenges with any vendor that we use. So the last time you had a challenge, how did they handle that for you? And how did it make you feel? Did they get it done for you? And did they correct it and you were happy? This gets them again thinking. Now you word it in your own words, but again, ask the questions to get them to answer. Now here's a funny for you. The C style for me, here's what I find, and that is sometimes they can be very hard to read and difficult to get information out of them. You almost feel like that term, you get like pulling teeth to get information out of them. That means you just need to be a little more strategic in how you're asking questions, thoughtfully strategic in what questions you're asking them. And so this is why, again, you prepare for meetings before you go walking into them. And so what's the number one thing you want out of this meeting, or what are the top 3 things you want out of the meeting, and who are you meeting with? Where's their dot on the graph? Because then that will tell you how to structure your questions for them, okay? And how to run that meeting. Now, this S style is similar in with the C. They're going to think about how to answer your question. They're going to be more sensitive as to how they answer that question, because they don't want to offend you. Now, if you are competing against a long-term vendor in place, this is key when you are dealing with an S style, because an S style has great loyalty and they will be very careful as to how they answer your question. Your job is to qualify this opportunity, and do you really have a shot at it? and then identifying that hole so you can dig into that hole to win that business. Is that accurate? Absolutely, right? And so you want to ask calculated questions, again, very thoughtful, strategic questions, so you can get them to answer them for you. Now, if you are too direct with them like this, Anna, if the price is right and I show you the benefits, am I going to get this or not? What are my chances? See? A true high S is going to go, I mean, you know, everyone has an equal shot, and you're going to make them nervous. Okay. And so again, it just provides you with a greater opportunity to learn from them on what their priorities are, what's important to them. Okay. All right. Is everything making sense and helpful thus far? Okay, fantastic. Now I'm going to go back up here to the D. Your D style is going to do this. When you hand them something to look at, you want to start at the beginning and you want to present, right? And walk them through it. You know what they're going to do? You're going to hand it to them and you're going to start talking and they're going to go right back here. Do you see what's right there? Dollar signs? That's what they're looking for. They're not going to pay attention to what you're saying. They're going to go directly to boom. And so my point to you in sharing that is you need to be very direct and transparent with them, land the plane, go directly to the point. In every situation in dealing with all four of these personalities, my biggest recommendation to you is to review what you discussed with them before, review and share with them and confirm with them what is important to them, and then just dive right in. Now, the D, you can be very direct, and I absolutely encourage you to be very direct. And this is what I mean by direct. Helene, do you have any further questions about everything that we've talked about today? Fantastic. I really appreciate the time that we've spent together today. So, is there any reason why we shouldn't move forward and do business? I'm ready. Are you? My team is ready. I've got 2 dates on the calendar reserved for us to get started. Which date would be better for you? If I did that to the S style, they would freeze on me. If I did that to the C style, that C style would point blank tell me you're getting too direct and I don't like it. Or nope, that directness won't work. Now, again, it depends on the person too. But that C style is not going to like that direct. You don't do any fast moves on them. Okay? Think about the last meeting you were in, or the last 2. Did you meet with any of these people? Probably. Okay. Making sense? All right. Fantastic. Now, the C style, I'm going to go back to the C style for just a moment. The C style will research things. If they had a sentence or a flashing neon sign on their forehead, it would say, it's got to be perfect. And so you pinning them down to a deadline of when a decision is going to be made, who else besides themselves is going to be making this decision? So you can support them with as much information as possible. Now, in sales, we're always encouraged, or in a business development, we're always encouraged to invite objections and concerns. For many of us, it scares us. What I'm going to say to you is embrace that fear. Because if you don't find out what their concerns are, if you don't find out, you won't be able to close that deal. You will not win the business. And if you do, you still want to know what's important to them. And so by asking them, what are your top 3 concerns? What would they be? Or your number 1 concern? What would that be? Get them talking about what are their concerns, what experiences have they had in the past, and how did they rectify them? This helps you to, that cliche saying, read between the lines. If you just pay attention to people, they will tell you what's important to them, what their pace is, and what their priorities are. Okay. Now, again, with that C style, you got to do your absolute best to pin them down to a time frame. The other thing I would highly recommend to you is when you're doing follow-up communication with these personalities, the D and the C, it's okay to open up with, "Hi, Bob. Thank you again for your time. Following up on what we talked about." Okay. Land the plane, get to the point. You can close with I'll follow up with you on this time frame. I look forward to the final decision, and then close it. Short, sweet, simple, and to the point. Okay. And leave emotion and social out of this. I'm not saying that they're not social. They can be. But this person here, the C style, wants you to build a relationship with them and build a foundation of trust with them first. You're not friends with them. Okay. The D might like you. They might groove with you or vibe with you, so to speak, but they're all about the process, the task, and the project, and making the best decision. Not emotion. Not emotion. Okay. The emotion is irrelevant to them, even though they do have feelings. The I and the S, it's fantastic when you open up with an emotional statement. Now, if you are a D or a C, this is going to be a little painful for you. I have had many Ds say to me, "Oh, I have to do that." Yes, you do, because you want to connect with the other person. So if this is you, a D or C, and you are communicating with an I or an S, then open up with, "Hi, Whitney," smiley face. "Hope you're having a great day. Hope you had a fantastic Father's Day weekend." And then go into what you want from them, and then closing statement. Okay. Again, it can be somewhat painful for you, but listen, you want to meet them where they need to be met, and you need to give them what they need to receive in order for you to receive what you want. Accurate? So a little extra step from being conscientious about it will get you really far. My kids used to use this saying, "Ooh, I just got brownie points with Mom. I washed the dishes without her asking." Ever make a relational deposit, not because you had to, but because you felt the need to continue to build upon that relationship? We all have to invest in relationships. Okay. Now, if you're an I or an S and you're communicating with another I or an S, remember that you're communicating with someone like you. Why is that important? Here's why. Because the I and the S are all about relationships. Okay. We'll spend more time building a relationship with each other than talking business. So help them get back to business. Have y'all seen that movie Up, where the dogs they're talking, and then all of a sudden, squirrel? Okay. That's what an I will do and an S will do. Go off on a tangent about a subject that they're excited and enthusiastic and sincere about. And then before you know it, oh my gosh, we're almost out of time. This has happened. This is real life. It's really happened to me. Maybe it's happened to you. I don't know. But I'll have a 1-hour meeting with a prospect, and 45 minutes into it, they'll say, "Okay, I've got 15 more minutes." And then I'm kicking myself in my head going, "Man, I just wasted 20 minutes talking about my grandkids." Not that it was wasted, because I love my grandkids, but this other person didn't need all those details about the birthday party, right? I need to focus more on business. And so again, I'm going to go back to, this is why it's so important that you are aware of where your dot is on the graph and what your pace and priorities are. So then that way you can truly meet the other person. Because if you're an I and an S, pay attention to this, so then that way you leave the meeting with what you need and want, so that you get the results that you want and need. Okay. How am I doing so far? Is this resonating for everyone? Yes. Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so here's what I'd like to do next. I'd like to open it up for Q&A, but not just Q&A. I'd like for y'all to think about a particular situation and maybe leave the names out, but share with me someone or something that occurred, and let me see if I can help you with it. Especially if you've got someone that you're working with now and you would like a little bit of insight into how to connect with them better. Is that okay? Miss Danielle, do we have some questions yet?
Not yet. As a
Okay.
reminder, please type those into the chat box.
And y'all can unmute and comment too. You won't hurt my feelings. Robin has raised her hand.
This is Robin Avalato. I'm Senior Marketing Coordinator of Business Development in DRMP. So I don't have a scenario, but I do have a question about implementation. And I've studied the DISC report and I've gone through a couple different trainings on it. And one of the challenges I have is actually using the information and putting what I know into action as far as being able to identify, or if we have a group that goes through this and we all know, say our department, we all have had this kind of a, report done, and how to, how do we put this into practice?
The easiest way would be, honestly, is if you keep this in front of you and on the forefront all the time. I have been studying this and using this for a long time, and I still learn something new all the time. And so again, what I would suggest to you is I will send this graph to Danielle, or you can literally go Google a DISC graph and it will have even more details for each one of the personalities. And I can even find that for Danielle. I'll find that and I'll send it to you too. But I always recommend to clients that they print that sheet and they put it in front of them. And before they go into a meeting, that they look at and ask themselves those two questions, like I just did, Miss Robin. What's their pace, right? Fast paced, action paced, more dependable, more passive, right? Methodical, analytical, task, process, relationships, okay? If you answer those two questions, you're probably going to get pretty close. Now, in the beginning, when you first start doing it, you're not going to be perfect at it. There's no such thing as perfect. But what I am going to say to you is, if you practice it every single day, all day long, you're going to get so good at it that when you have a conversation with someone at a party, you're immediately going to pick up, oh, this guy is all about enthusiasm. This guy's the one that walks in on Monday morning with pom-poms in his hand going, woo, woo. Okay. Or this person walks in every single day, doesn't really speak to anyone, goes directly to the coffee maker, gets a cup of coffee and goes directly to their office to get to work. Okay. Again, if you do that, it will be very helpful for you. And by the way, anyone on the call, if you would like to have a 1-hour session with me to go into more details, I would be more than happy to do so. My gift to you. Okay. So Robin, if you want to hop on a call with me and we can do a Zoom call like this and go into more details, we can. Okay. Was that helpful for you?
It was helpful. And I think I could take some of those things that you said, because what I'd like to be able to do is to help, coach a team environment, because, our team works with, our, other personalities, and for our team to be able to identify, okay, I'm working with this individual on this project, and to be able to kind of identify and help coach the department on, the department staff on how to approach that person. That's where my goal is to kind of make this a cultural implement this into the culture, so we can work better with the other staff to meet their needs.
Here would be my suggestion on that then, Robin. When you have a team working on a project and you've run disc on them already, I would find a fun way to keep it top of mind. So in other words, on their agendas and everyone's name that's on the project and attending, if there's Bob, Mary, Margaret, and Alan, Bob is a C, Margaret's a D. You see where I'm going with that? A DI, a CS, putting it there. So it's, again, top of mind, and they know. And you use just easy words. The D, driven, demanding, dedicated. I, inspiring, influential.
Yeah.
And
that's what we can do internally. But one of the things that I'd like to see if I could do is for us who have had this training and working with staff that we have to figure out what they are on the chart because they haven't had this training. And that's where I guess, have you had success with coaching departments on how to kind of do that?
Absolutely. And it's a lot of fun. It's not a boring training. It's funny and it's fun. Yes. Yes. But it's it's an ongoing thing. It's just like anything else. We can't study it one day and then, oh, it's great. And we've absorbed it. We just have to practice it until it becomes a habit, which, by the way, that is an incredible book, The Power of Habit.
Okay, but, yeah, that's what it is. It's building a culture, and that's kind of where I'm wondering, if that's that's something that we could do.
And it'd be very easy for you to drive. So again, if we identified 1 to 3 I's and S's on your team or within the culture, those are the people that we put as our champions of connecting or champions of whatever theme it. So then that way you're having fun with it. The C is going to go, oh, there we go with something else. But the S is going to go, oh, this is wonderful. We're all going to connect. Kumbaya. And the I is going to go, woo, we're at to have a party, happy hour. And the D is going to go, as long as you get the work done, where's my stuff? And the C is like, how are we measuring this? Okay. Was that helpful, Robin?
Yeah, it was. And it was actually really helpful at the end how you went through each one as far as their perception goes. Those examples are very helpful.
Yes, because perception is reality. So again,
I'm over here.
If you want to hop on a call, you can send me an email or I learned this new phrase. I've been practicing it. You can DM me on social. Okay,
I'm laughing because my previous meeting, we were just talking about this same thing of we need to do a personality assessment for everyone, even if it's like doing like a mini self-assessment and peer assessment, and then comparing what we thought somebody was versus what their ranks actually come out to be. Because I mean, each of these is very important to have in any team, especially I saw some team stuff pop up. And exactly to your point, Robin, is you're dealing with a lot of different personalities and a lot of D's and S's, especially on the engineering side, where more of the architects might be the I's and the C's. But they're all very important to have, and reminding them of that is, like I'm quick to react and excited about it, and I do want results, but I'm a very fast-paced person, but I need that person to slow me down, remind me of, consequence, to like I'm always blown away at their perception of different things and the angle they take. And so reminding the teams too that each personality is very important to have especially when you're going and meeting with a client if you haven't met with them before, making sure that you have somebody who's a strong suit in each of them so that you can match the client personalities there as well.
Bingo, bingo. Now, this information is incredibly powerful when you're building a team for a project, internally and externally. When you're walking into a presentation and there are multiple people in the room, within 30 seconds, you can gauge their personality. So then that way you meet you're selling to the whole committee, not just to one person. You're selling to everyone. The third thing is when you are building your team, if you have a team of nothing but D's, you're not going to get anything done. They're all lions. They're all going to be roaring at each other and saying, look how beautiful my mane is. No, mine's prettier than yours. But no, look, mine's thicker than yours. But no, look, mine has blonde streaks and yours doesn't. So there's all this. D's are very competitive, by the way, by nature. I's just are going to yell over you because they want to be heard. Okay. The S's are just going to do this. And the C's just going to do this. Click, gone. Okay. So yeah, this stuff is, it's very powerful. Now listen, it's also very powerful when it comes to, interns that you bring in for the summer, whether or not they're going to fit in with the team and the culture. And second, employees. I highly recommend to organizations that you run DISC on your top 2 or 3 candidates before even taking them to, the final team or the final person to interview, because that's going to tell you a lot about their decision making, their emotional state. Are they, and by the way, here's a funny for you, my daughter, I have 6 children, y'all. So raising 6 kids, you can imagine I dealt with the variations of this personalities when they were growing up. And as adults, it's even more fun. And I have 9 grandkids. And so here's what, with the kids, learning their personalities as they were growing up, how to discipline. Okay. Now I'm going to take it to the office. When we are having a conversation and providing feedback to someone, when I provide feedback to a D, it's very different than when I provide feedback to an S. Think about that one. And again, when I'm building that team, I need to know what skills do I need on the team. My daughter, baby number 4, is in construction, my tough girl, okay? She is a project manager for a local construction company. And she is a high C. And she laughs and comes and tells me, Mom, we're having a hard time attracting and keeping project managers because they break down in tears. They can't take it. She said, and I don't understand. I don't allow emotion to, get in the way. I'm getting my job done. I don't take it personal. It's not, nobody's attacking me. They're attacking the process. They're attacking, where's my stuff? Well, I ain't got it yet because you didn't do this, So again, the personality that's going to be the best fit for that. If you're going to do a sales presentation and it's a team of 3 that's going to be presenting this to a committee, who do you have presenting? Who do you have running it? Who do you have presenting which section? You're not going to put a high I that isn't technical presenting the technical part. You're going to do the I that's going to present the benefits, what's in it for them. Then you're going to put the C or the D, theoretically, that's going to be more technical and more detail oriented. Because when technical questions are asked, they're going to be able to answer it. Was that okay that I said that, Anna? Okay. Anybody else have some questions, comments?
We have a few questions in the chat, Cynthia.
Okay.
So Kristen asks, how do you decipher or manage different personality types in a group meeting or presentation? So this is directly related to what we were just discussing.
Okay. So facilitating a meeting and keeping control of it. So when you've got a D in the room, a D, remember, is very competitive for the attention. They want the floor and they're opinionated. So when they share their opinion and they go off on a tangent, let them finish. If it's not related to the subject matter, use this. Bob, that was a great point, and I've written it down, and I'm going to put it in the parking lot. And you and I are going to visit the parking lot and then make a decision on what we're going to do with that information to bring it back to the group. Okay? Thanks for bringing that up, Bob. We're going to move on. Now, a I goes off into a tangent and wants to talk. You can do like this with the I. Hey, Danielle, look, Danielle, that is fantastic. I love your enthusiasm and the energy that you're bringing to this, but I got to tell you, we need to stay on topic and on time. And so will you write that down and go to my calendar and get 15 minutes for us to collaborate on that? The I's going to go, yeah, okay. I'll excite it. The S, you're going to be a little more sensitive with the S. You're going to let them finish their thought, and everyone else around the room is going to go, oh my God, they're going to be here forever because they'll talk. Okay. Let them finish. It's very important that you let them finish their thought and that you're sensitive as to how you respond to them. Again, you can use the same tactic. Sandra, I always appreciate when you provide fully thought out responses. Sincerely appreciate it. Your collaboration is what keeps the team, keeps us all on point and together. I think that you and I think that you and Anna should meet for 15 minutes and talk about it and then bring it back to the group. You see how I did that? Your C's, you're probably not going to have that problem unless the C sometimes can come across as negative, but they're not being negative. They're realists. Okay. The numbers and the data don't lie. They're not negative. They're bringing you all of the potential holes that could be poked or all of the potential things that could go this way or this way. And so you don't want to squish their enthusiasm, because when you do that with the C, they won't talk ever again. You want to encourage them. You want to say, that was a really great point that we're going to make sure is in the notes. And whoever's taking notes, make sure we've got that in the notes because that was important. And then that's really all you got to do. Was that helpful?
Kristen, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, great. We've got another question from Helene. How do you prepare questions when it's the first time that you're meeting with a prospective client and it may be your only chance at it?
Okay. I'm so glad you asked that question. Yay. So how many of y'all are using LinkedIn? Show of hands. Good job. So networking and connecting with others during the pandemic has taken on a whole new meaning, right? And how we communicate. So I'm going to tell you how Danielle and I met. I'm working LinkedIn because I'm this extrovert, and I'm going to go cuckoo crazy if I don't have all of this interaction and communication with others. So I'm working LinkedIn, making friends. I met someone that is a director of education for another chapter. I want to say in Pennsylvania or Pittsburgh or DC or somewhere. She introduced me to Daniel. Daniel then introduced me to Danielle. Okay. Why did I share that? Because listen, in our next session, I'm going to show you how to do a little bit of research on someone, and you will get pretty close to their personality and where their dot is on the graph. I can sometimes be a little off, but I'm pretty good at looking at someone's profile on LinkedIn and maybe even their profile on Facebook or even Instagram, and be able to tell you where their dot is before I get on the phone with them or before I meet with them in person. Okay. And so you can do that before meeting with them to prepare. Now, the other thing that you can do is, if you just pay attention to them within 30 seconds to a minute, they'll tell you where they're at and how they greet you. So if you're meeting with them in person and you walk in, you stick before the pandemic, I don't know if y'all are doing that now, but you reach out, you go to shake their hand. Hi, Bob, how you doing today? Thank you so much for making time for us. If he responds like this, not a problem. What you got? He's over here, a D or a C. If he says, oh, not a problem. Yeah, this is great. I appreciate, meeting you in person. He's probably over here. He's more relationship driven. How was that? How did I do? Did I answer your question, and was that helpful for you?
Yes, yeah, definitely. You did. You did.
Okay,
And I figure you would probably say that like in the first few couple minutes that you meet someone, you kind of get that first feeling and just how they answer to you or talk to you. But it's always good to hear and just get someone else's opinion on it. But you've been really great. So thank you.
Okay, well, you're
Been
welcome.
fun. Thanks.
So listen, here's something also that I'll share with y'all. It's a little game that I love to play. I call it the verify game. Now, in therapy and in counseling, they call it reflecting. All right. So the counselor or therapist reflects back to you what you just said. Here's what I'm saying to you and suggesting. Every conversation that you have, repeat back to the person what it is that you heard. Because they're going to say, yeah, that's it. Or they're going to say, no, that's not what I meant. It provides you with an opportunity for them to elaborate more and talk. The more they talk and interact with you, the faster and easier it is for you to recognize who they are and what they want, what's important to them. How was that?
That's really good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Now listen, again, the offer is there for y'all. If any one of you, if you just want to send me a message, we'll schedule an hour session one-on-one to go through this stuff a little bit more into detail that's relatable and very customized and specific for you, your situation, your organization. And if any of y'all are interested in conducting, a group disc, fun, or actually applying the assessment and then doing, a group training and a workshop, then I'd be more than happy to help. I'd love to get out of this office and come see you.
So you will come to the company.
Absolutely. I'm fully vaccinated. Yes.
Okay. We're good. Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions? It is 1:02 and I want to be respectful of y'all's time so you can go out and make more rain and make more connections.
We don't have any other questions in the chat. Anna pointed out that she likes to add parking lot to her meeting agendas, and she uses that as a way to, get action items from her team members. So I'm definitely stealing that idea, Anna.
Absolutely. And always use an agenda. Never, ever go into a meeting and not have one, because you can blame the agenda. You can go, well, the agenda, we're off agenda. That way they don't get mad at you. Get mad at the agenda. Well, hey, listen, it was wonderful spending time with y'all today.
I've found people love it too, because they're like, actually, let's parking lot that, because I really want to delve deeper into it. So they think it's their idea of let's do this, and you're not always the bad guy.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Cynthia.
Oh, you're welcome. This has been awesome. Thank you.